Welcome to Highland Park, California. I'm Clare Graham. This is Mor York Gallery and my art studio. Come on a tour. Well, this is sort of the end result of a very long process of accumulating materials. I'm very opportunistic. I go to swap meets, flea markets, garage sales, thrift stores, and I find anything that occurs in multiple units. Things like pop tops off of soft drink and beer cans, and jigsaw puzzles, or there's a great Rose Bowl flea market that I went to, and there happened to be a truckload of buttons from a downtown clothing manufacturer who was going out of business. And so I started making these large objects out of the buttons. There were probably close to about 3 million buttons on the truck. The first thing is collecting the materials. And these are all specifically out of my mother's button boxes. When I was a kid, she'd save every piece of clothing that wore out. She'd cut the buttons off and it would go into a Quaker oak tub. So I ended up with 5 or 6 of those. And so these are all the used buttons from the Graham family apparel. So, you know, that process took 35 years to collect the specific buttons for this piece. The Rose Bowl flea market was a one fell swoop. I got 3.5 million buttons. So you can never rely on going to the mine and getting the same material again and again. You just use what you naturally come across. Part of what I try to do is be as green as possible and recycle, reuse everything. So these are old chair frames from a Disneyland Tomorrowland Terrace cafe. This is sort of the playpen where things get to be here to try to get to a threshold of shock and awe. So people that come in sort of start trying to put a story together about why all of this ended up together. This is Yardstickly sofa. So actually I just came across a company who was printing yardsticks and had a very large order that was refused by a client. So for the cost of shipping, I got 10,000 yardsticks, which was unbelievable. And I started playing around with making them sort of a structural bundle of putting 8 together so you got a piece of timber, and then putting the timber together into this sort of riff on Gustav Stickley spindle furniture. I was in school longer than most students have been alive, actually. I quickly realized going to school that the cheapest studio space in town was to stay in school and use the system. When you're young, you think you're immortal, you know, and you have all the time in the world, and then it closes in on you, and you quickly get organized and learn how to use the time to the best effect. My gallery and studio is a very large building, and what we did 5 years ago was divide off about 1,200 square feet up front for this gallery portion, which is officially Mor York Gallery. We're at 4959 York Boulevard in Highland Park, and it's basically a not-for-profit free space that is open to anybody to show. And it's our mission statement is to try to engender the exchange between local artists and the community at large. And the way to find me is through my website, and just send an inquiry about, are you looking at portfolios? Can we get on the list? And the answer is always yes. It's just depending on when we have an opening.